Oh, we finally got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we finally got there. Hello, everyone. Apologies for the. It was only 4 minutes delayed. To be fair, it was only 4 minutes. To be fair, it could have been a lot. Could have been a lot worse. To be fair.
Oh, hang on. Sorry.
Oh.
Turn that off. Yeah, it's my fault that we're late because I don't know what we're doing.
Living technology these days. How do you make this mic work or these headphones work?
Yeah, I need to. It's and I do need tech, and it's just one of those things at the moment that is just, I've got to earn some money first. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. All right, let me just. Oh, I didn't adjust my setting. I didn't adjust my. I have my screen on the wrong side here. Actually, I need to. Hold on 1 second. I just realised that I'm looking the wrong way. Here we go. I need to look this side, and then I need to look. There we go. So I'm not looking weirdly at you on the screen.
Right.
There we go. That's better. Now I can. There we go. Now I can look that way. There we go. Oh. Witchy Goth, how are you, by the way? Apart from all that come up in there, how are you doing?
Okay, it's been a bit of a stressful day. One of my cats has gone missing. I took one of my other cats to the vet yesterday. She's got a bit of an infection, so she's on gabapentin, so she's a bit stoned. Besides that, I'm okay. Yeah.
Oh.
How are you doing?
Yeah, I saw your video. I'm all right. My cats. The good news is, so we've had Dolly for more than a month now, and Dolly is still a big scaredy cat. She will not cooperate if I try to pick her up. She will basically wiggle her booty if I pick her up, and she'll go. Wee! So I can't pick her up. I don't know how, but my partner's mum has some technique of picking her up that none of us can do.
Right.
Which is funny as hell. But she's settled. She's proper settled in now. We still need to sort out her chip issue before we can let her go outside. She's settled now with Jasper. So basically, when we can have them in the living room and that. But the only problem is that we can't have Dolly going into the kitchen because that's where the cat flap is. Like, so in case Dolly tries to go out through the cat flap, because she won't be able to come back in. So that's still something we need to sort out. But the two seem to be okay now. Like, they have play fighted a few times, which is like normal for cats, to be fair. So that's finally good. She can be very noisy sometimes when she doesn't get things her way. Like, she's a very loud cat. Like, she will proper protest about things as well. So she's definitely a diva, I think is a good way to describe Dolly.
Yeah.
But it's the cats are doing well. I'm doing okay. I've been stressing out. I said on this morning's live stream that my partner has been kicking me about, saying to me, when are you going to book us a holiday next week? Because I've got a week off and I want to do something. So it's like, okay, fine. So I finally booked something. I don't want to say now, but it's nothing expensive. It's a cheap. I wanted to get a cheap holiday. I didn't want to do something expensive. No, definitely not. So I'm finally going abroad next week. So
nice.
For a couple of days anyway. Just a couple of days, nothing too fancy or anything like that. So hello everyone. Yes, we will talk about other things besides our cats as well. Don't worry. Don't worry. Witchy Goth, for those who don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself and a bit about your channel if you can. For those who don't know you, if you wouldn't mind.
Well, where do I start? Okay, let's keep this as short as I can. I am a witch and I am a goth. Okay, so that's the name is actually true. I'm
no curses, please.
I have been a witch. Sorry?
No curses, please.
No. Definitely not. No. If anything, it'll be spells for good luck and success.
Oh,
So yeah. I've been a witch for about 35 years now, maybe a bit longer. I'm a high priestess. I used to run my own coven. I'm also a Reiki master. I'm a yoga instructor. I do tarot and crystal readings. I am currently studying psychology. Um, I've worked in many different fields in my life, and I lived in South Africa for 24 years of my life, from 1982 until 2006. Um, and now I've been back in the UK nearly 20 years now. And my channel started off as sort of dealing with narcissistic abuse. I had just, my ex-partner had left me, and I was completely confused, didn't know what was going on. And I'd started doing live streams on Facebook, and I found it really cathartic. And as I was doing that, I was going through therapy, and I was looking at different sort of diagnoses of what I had gone through. And I was also accessing info from a support group called the Elm Foundation. They're local to Derbyshire, and they help you, they give you a course on, you know, how to deal with what you're experiencing from that traumatic relationship and what you went through. And that was really helpful. It was, I think it was a 6-week course where we were on Zoom, and we were all talking and sharing our experiences and sort of looking at the type of partners that we had and what they were like. And from that, I then started looking online for people who dealt with narcissism. And the lady that I came across is Dr. Ramani. She is like the top doctor in the world that deals with narcissism and narcissistic abuse. She is absolutely brilliant. And if, you know, I can't remember her surname now, and her book's in the living room, but I watched so many of her videos. She, you know, puts out content daily. She does workshops and that sort of thing as well, free workshops and paid workshops. But she is, if you have suffered through a traumatic narcissistic relationship, she is the person to watch and have a look at. I don't watch her anymore because I don't need to anymore. So through that and through the therapy I was going through, that's when I decided, okay, I want to study psychology. It's something I always wanted to study from being in school and never had the opportunity. And so it came back, and it's like, well, I have mental health issues. I've been through this traumatic relationship. So why don't I try and help other people who are going through the same things? I'm then dealing with it from my own perspective, from, you know, an empathetic view, because I've experienced it. So I do deal with women purely because I am a woman, and it's what I've experienced. So I know that men go through the same sort of problems. I really do. But obviously, I would recommend that a man going through it speak to a man who has been trained in that, you know, kind of therapy, because it's very different. You know, the abuse is the
yeah,
same, but obviously I can only give advice from my perspective. And
yeah,
then through this, I sort of deviated. I've always watched a different bias. I've watched Politics Social since it started. I've watched Matt for years. And so I started sort of getting into you guys and, you know, seeing all the different political perspectives. And obviously since Brexit, I have been very, you know, my political side has come out more. So I do include a bit of politics in my stuff, but I try not to, because I get really angry, especially at, you know, the far right.
yeah,
And so I've actually started incorporating feminism now into what I do, because I am a feminist. And I
yeah,
am a feminist that believes that trans women are women. I have a lot of arguments with people on my channel about, oh, trans women are not women and so on. And I support trans women and trans men 100%. I have many trans friends and love them all to bits. So I do have quite a bit of aggro from that. And also because of what I talk about with, you know, grape and SA and SB and DV, and I'm using those because I know that YouTube has an issue with those words, and I don't want your channel to be flagged.
Well, we're not. Well, I will say I don't monetize my live streams just in case as well, in case whenever I play or say anything out of context, just to protect my channel there. But
yeah.
But go on, do carry on. It's fine. You're fine.
Yeah, I'm just used to saying those phrases,
yeah,
you know, while I'm talking, and I actually end up putting it onto Facebook as well, and then realize, oh, people say, well, what's grape? And I'm like, okay, it's the R word. So, you know, you just sort of get used to it. And in conversation, it comes out like that as well, because I know the censorship that happens on YouTube. So yeah, I started including feminism, and I do get quite a lot of flack from men. Obviously they are very, what can I say? They're sort of very sensitive men. The whole man versus bear thing, when that erupted, that's when I really sort of got noticed, because I've still got my TikTok channel, but I really don't have time to post on there anymore. But I did post on there around the man versus bear hypotheses, and that just exploded. And obviously, you know, a lot of vitriol from men saying, but the bear will eat you and the bear will kill you, and without them perhaps fully understanding the thought process that a woman goes through and the fear that she has of men, you know. And I'm not saying all men, I just want to make that very, very clear. It's not all men. We know that there are good men out there, but we don't know which ones they are. And you can meet somebody, you know, I don't do the dating thing anymore. I've tried it. I've tried the online dating thing, and it just, not for me. You know, the unsolicited pics that come through and all of that. It's like, I'm too old for that shit now. I really am. I just would rather live my life as I am. I'm happy. I've got you know, I'm happy with my life. I'm happy with what I do. And I've started running recently. So that's really, I'm enjoying that. And yeah, to hopefully, I think my aim is to help to educate men that are good, to help us with the men that are bad.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, I totally get that. And first of all, I think what you're doing and talking about, you know, subjects like that is, you know, it's incredibly brave. It's incredibly brave, and it can be very difficult to have those conversations. It can be very hard to them, and for anyone here, it's not something that, you know, something like that is sensitive as that, you know, and I'm sure you'll agree with me. There's lots of women out there feel that they don't have the space or place to be able to talk about these things, or sometimes don't know where to go to talk about these things, and they do turn to the internet, and sometimes they end up going somewhere where they shouldn't be going, and it only makes things worse. Where there are times where they may come across your channel, and then they end up feel somewhere they can safe and be comfortable to talk about these issues, or even if it ain't directly these issues, it could be something unrelated that they can be more open to, because you've experienced because of your past experience. So you've created it for your community, a safe environment for many women, and for women in your community. And I really do mean this. I commend you for that, because it's not something easy to talk about. Like I cannot imagine as a man, no matter how much you describe what it's like for women to go through, or I can never understand it fully because I'm a man. I will never experience it, and I accept that. But as you say, there are, unfortunately, as you rightfully point out, there's a lot of men out there who sadly are, unfortunately, I wouldn't always say it's not just the men. I also think there is a deep educational issue. Not just obviously, I'm sure you'll agree with me, it's not just on a national thing, but internationally. There is how people access social media, how people access information online, how the parents are raising their children, how the schools are teaching them, how information that they learn from friends and colleagues, because I'm sure you'll agree with me that the simple quote that, as I'm sure everybody knows, is that no one is born racist, no one is born sexist, no one is born to hate somebody. It's all taught, it's all passed down. Someone is passing it somewhere in life, and obviously always like to think of it as like root and branch, and it's all about just cutting off the roots of where that is passed on. And the challenge is just trying to break those, if that makes sense.
It does. From the age of 0 to the age of 8, they are our formative years. So we learn our behavior from those around us. So our first teachers are obviously our parents. And the actions that our parents take towards each other and towards other people, and of course towards you as a child, are the actions that you will, continue with in life. And then of course you go to school, and I mean, I'm Gen X, so I know that, and I want to say not all boomers, so I'm going to put that in there, because I know that there are a lot of boomers that follow us, and that we they are more aware of what they went through in their generation. And I think that we have tried to, as Gen Xers, to create a more open society after the sort of hippie movement and the free love. And I think that the punk era in the Gen X era had a lot to do with creating difference and creating that sort of almost anarchy against the system, but also within ourselves to be different from our parents. To, especially for me, I've been a goth since I was like 14. So I was always in trouble for the way I dressed and my hair and that sort of thing at school. I was always in trouble. But that's just me. And I think that has given me a bit of a stronger character to go out there and talk about what I've been through. I'm not shy about what I've been through. I will talk about it very, very openly. And trigger warning for anybody who has been through any sort of, abuse in any kind of relationship, bullying or anything, because it is the same thing. If, I do believe that racism and sexism stem from the same root. As you were talking about roots, they do stem from the same roots, because often you will find that the people that are racist tend to be misogynist and vice versa. I mean, we look at what's been happening around Epping, just taking that as an example. And the men that were protesting all about save our women and girls. Meanwhile, it turns out that a lot of those men there were known to the police for previous in those sort of instances. But also there was one paedophile who was there, who was taking photos and filming for his own channel. And he was actually removed, I think, or he removed himself. And that was horrendous that could happen. I mean, I in no way will, say that all asylum seekers are good or bad or anything. People are people. And it's not, that sort of behavior is not just from people of color, it's from all men. And there was a comment from somebody who was having a debate with me on one of my videos, saying that there's a higher rate from African and Asian men. And so I'm like looking at this and thinking, but the population of the Asian community is the largest in the world. So of course it's going to be a higher rate. Do you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that they are all going to do that, because by no means. What was amazing me though was that I was pointing out to these men who were protecting our women and girls that half of them were actual, perpetrators, and they were tarring all of the asylum seekers with the same brush. And when I said, well, these guys are perpetrators, they're like, but you're tarring people with the same brush. And I'm like, exactly. That's, you know, the sort of standard that we have to look at and say, we know, like I said before, we know there are men who are good men, and we know there are bad men, and in all skin colors, in all races, in all religions and belief systems, it is, you know, across the board. We live in a patriarchal, misogynist society. Wherever you are in the world, that is the society that we live in.
I think thank you for that, Chris. I'm sure you. I don't know if you're aware about the synagogue attack that happened this morning.
Yes, I did see that earlier today, and my heart goes out to everybody affected.
Chris has just said the offender was a naturalist, British citizen, and Keir Starmer did say he was deliberately and intentionally targeting Jews, which is just horrific. And of course, our condolences to friends and family and loved ones out there.
Rosh Hashanah as well. So it's their, you know, one of their main celebrations. I have a Jewish friend in South Africa. We were, you know, we spent so much time. We're still really good friends now. We chat to each other, and I just, you know, I don't see people for their belief or their skin color. I see them as people.
Yeah.
And when people, you know, do these things to each other, it just makes no sense to me at all. I just don't understand it. I really don't.
So one of my sayings is always trying to put yourself in the shoes of other people to try and understand, why do people think and feel a certain way? Why do they do the certain things they do? And we know that obviously, like if, for example, in America, we know it's obviously, and I'm sure our friends in them, because I know there's 1 or 2 friends, and thank you for those on the big podcast for gate crashing the live stream. I do appreciate you guys earlier popping in. Shout out to the Bing podcast guys. I know that obviously, you know, one of the most difficult things for them is that they have the right to bear arms. They have to, and they carry guns, but many of them don't carry guns because they want to carry guns. They do it because they have no choice, because everybody else is carrying guns. So it's a case of they having to protect themselves. Now, unfortunately, because of guns pretty much everywhere, even because of them, you find so many shootings, and you're wondering, why do these things happen? It's because there's lots of people who unfortunately haven't been raised properly, whether it's been education or sometimes their luck's not gone on their side. They've had a divorce, they've had stress, drama, whatever, has all sorts of effects, or the consumption of non-stop politics, where, you know, a lot of people did commit suicide after the loss of when Donald Trump became elected president of the United States for a second time. That really broke my heart. You know, so many people, because they felt like that was it. It was the end of the world for them. And many people, and we've already seen that not once but twice, assassination attempts on Donald Trump. We've seen, obviously, Charlie Kirk. You know, I don't like the man, and I'm sure you and everyone in the chat knows exactly the kind of things that he said. But regardless, shooting him doesn't change anything. It doesn't. It's not going to make the world a better place. Like if you wake up tomorrow and you decide that I'm going to go after Nigel Farage and try to take his life, it's not going to change. It's not going to change anything. All it is just, you're just cutting off the serpent's head. Another snake will just be, another head will just breed after it, and all you do is embolden them. You know, you will galvanize them more. You'll bring them more together. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't see it like that. They see it as a case of, like in their minds, they're so messed up that they feel that by taking some of these political figures out, or these people who have such influence, they feel that it can shift history or it can make things better or whatnot, when in fact all it's going to do is bring more harm than good in the overall there. So
I think, I mean, when I lived in South Africa, I did carry a gun. The part of the work that I did, I had to travel around the country driving. So like from Johannesburg to Bloemfontein, it's 500 kilometers. So I'd be in the car on my own. I'd perhaps be carrying money or something that was, you know, and there were a lot of hijackings. I actually did have a couple of attempted hijackings on my car when I was in it, which is very, very scary. So, you know, that was for protection, because being a woman driving alone, when I lived there, the gun culture was not as it is now. I've seen stuff on the street, you know, footage and that of the cops shooting at residents and vice versa. And, you know, that it wasn't like that, because, you know, I lived there in the apartheid era, and then after apartheid was finished, when Nelson Mandela was released, and we, you know, voted for the referendum, and we voted for one man, one vote, which is what it was known as at the time.
Yeah.
And because I ruined my vote prior to that, I refused to vote until they had the vote, the referendum. That's like, yeah, okay, now we need to have this society of fairness, because, you know, when I was at school there, you didn't see it, you weren't aware of it, you weren't taught this stuff. So it very much the right wing side of things. I mean, we had to speak Afrikaans in school as well. So we were part English, part Afrikaans in school, but mostly English. But, you know, you weren't aware of what was going on until you left school and you sort of went out into the world, and you're like, whoa, hang on, this is wrong. I certainly was never taught that. And I guess I was perhaps living in a blinkered life. I'm not sure. I wish I had have known earlier in my life. But then afterwards, I did what I could to make sure that, you know, people could vote. But still, there is a huge, huge disparity amongst the people in South Africa, you know, and it is, whether it'll ever come right or not, I don't know. I think it's going to take a lot of work. But at the moment, they've got a coalition government. So I think that things are a lot easier now than they were previously.
How is South Africa right now? So would you say it's a bit more stable at the moment then, based on?
Yeah, they've got a coalition government. It's the ANC and the Democratic Party, the Democratic Alliance. So those two are working together, and I think that that is probably going to bring about a more stable society, because the ANC, the African National Congress, is very much a Zulu-based party. So you've got two main African groups. You've got the Zulus and the Xhosas. Xhosa is spelt with an X, and it's a sound in the throat. But so there has always been a bit of a rivalry between the two. But I think that the ANC, when they were under Nelson Mandela, obviously the whole country, you know, did really well. And then it was Thabo Mbeki. And then it went on, and the presidents became a little bit more sort of fraudulent, if, you know, if I want to say that. The one of the presidents, I cannot remember his name. I can't remember his name. I don't want to say a name and be wrong, but he actually embezzled a lot of money and built his own sort of palatial home, a bit like Mar-a-Lago, I suppose. And, you know, so there has been a lot of that as well. And I think, but when you take a culture out of where they have been oppressed and received no education because they were not allowed to go to school, they were not allowed to be educated. So when you take that and you give them freedom, it you know, how do those, you know, come together? And so there was a big sort of difference in white people and black people, and then you have your Indian culture and your Cape Coloured. So there's a lot of different groups of people that are, you know, stick together. But I do believe now, I mean, they call it the Rainbow Nation. You know, when they talk about multiculturalism not working in this country, and I look at South Africa and I think, you know what, it does work. It really does work. It's education. It is allowing people to have that freedom of, you know, being able to go to school and being able to work and do those jobs, and not being made or forced to be a gardener or a domestic worker. You know, those were, and they had to have papers. They had to carry passports with them as well, and they weren't allowed to be outside of the township after a certain time at night. They had to return to the township. So it was incredibly cruel. And, you know, you had whites only toilets, whites only, you know, areas, and then, you know, and you didn't even see it. Do you know what I mean? I didn't see it until, like I say, I left school, and then the world opened, and I'm like, well, hang on, this isn't fair. This isn't right. So
is it fair to say you felt that it was normalized?
Yeah.
Is that a good way to describe it? Like,
yeah,
like because obviously it's like for my view and from both the chat's view, like that seems like so alien to us. But obviously for you and for you and to see it, like when you actually realized what was going on, like, could you believe it that it was just something like this is normal? And did you cross your mind that oh my god, this is something that's normal? Like, I thought everyone was the same, like, but it's not.
Yeah, it was. I remember the day that Nelson Mandela was released from Robben Island. I was living in Joburg at the time, in Hillbrow, a suburb, in a flat, and I could hear this noise. So I went to look over the balcony, and there was a group of Black people dancing. They call it Toi Toi. It's like a dance, cheering, happiness. And then I heard that he'd been released, and about 2 hours later, the entire street was filled with people cheering and celebrating. And, you know, it was an amazing time. And when South Africa won the Rugby World Cup, I was watching from home. I didn't go to the games, but it was just amazing. That brought the entire country together. You know, like when the Olympics here in 2012, everybody sort of came together. It was the same with the Rugby World Cup being held in, and you know, we beat the All Blacks, which was a major thing, because there's always been a rivalry between the All Blacks and
there's long history there. I'm not deep into my rugby, but I do know a little bit. But it's no, that's quite incredible, like, history, obviously, because I've never set foot in South Africa, and there's actually, if I ever do visit the continent of Africa, that's probably one of the nations that I've always considered visiting.
I would love to go back for a holiday. I really, really would. For me, I would want to go to the Kruger National Park again. On safari to see the animals. That to me is just amazing. Seeing a herd of elephants, you know, in the wild. It's not the same as going to a zoo.
No, that's something I would love to do. Yeah.
Yeah. But coming back to the whole sort of apartheid era, I remember after that happened, after Mandela was released and we went into the one man, one vote, I was running a music store at the time, and I had a lady who was a cleaner. And I'm like, her name was Cindy, and I'm like, she can do what I'm doing. So I taught her how to use the till, how to, you know, all of the stuff. And so she eventually went on to run her own store. And it was just like, just because of the color of the skin doesn't mean that that person is any less than. That was something about Charlie Kirk, that he was saying that, you know, white people are more intelligent than black people. I'm like, that's so wrong. That is just absolute BS. You know, it just is wrong.
Yeah, that's that kind of language is scary. And what's worse is that when you hear it from somebody of his age, and you ask yourself the questions of, where do these people learn that kind of language? Well, it's some of it is from the internet, some of it is from other influencers. There's all sorts of regions. For all I know, I don't think it came from Andrew Tate, but you know, there's obviously all kinds of different people that you find yourselves getting to connect. There's always a breadcrumbs of where the links come from for this kind of stuff. And again, like we say, you know, we condemn all violence and racism and hatred and the murder of others. But when you see the right using the kind of language that they're using, and it really infuriates me when they like when Nigel Farage throws a hissy fit over at him being called a racist, and like Reformer claiming that if anything happens to Nigel Farage, it's because of Keir Starmer. And it's like, he's not calling for your death. Like, he's not calling for violence. He's not calling for open war. But the problem is that you can tell, since I don't know how much of the language you've been hearing from Reform recently, but the language recently says to me, and especially from the Daily Mail, that put out a flat out lie about what Keir Starmer said. And listen, I have plenty of people in the chat, and they can speak to themselves about how much they hate Keir Starmer and the Labour government, and that's totally fine, because we have disagreements about politics and whatnot. And I'm not a fan of Keir Starmer either, but he did not advocate for the murder of Nigel Farage. He did not advocate for, you know, the silencing of Reform UK or anything like that, or suppressing or any kind of sorts. But the Daily Mail literally twisted the headlines and put quote marks, so they obviously don't get sued, to imply that that's what Keir Starmer was saying. And that's all it takes for people to instantly believe. They don't even need to open up the paper and read the story itself. They'll just look at the headline and they'll say, oh my God, I can't believe the Prime Minister called Nigel Farage a racist. He's calling for anyone who supports Reform UK racist. And it's just like, that's not what he said. But because there's more parrots out there saying that, people will believe it. It's a major issue. And it stems to one of the things that I've been calling, and I'm sure everybody here has been calling, is some kind of media reform. And the problem is that they're not doing anything about it. Well, that's particularly here in the UK, but obviously in the US it's getting a lot worse because of what Trump is doing with regards to lawyers, with regards to law firms and news outlets there. And we know that there's
military. What he's doing to the military right now as well is just insane.
Well, the good news is though that from what I gathered, most of the US generals that were asked about the speech didn't have anything positive to say about it after. From the majority, I don't think they. I think one reporter said, I asked like more than 30 different generals. Not one of them could say anything nice about the speeches from the except for Trump. So that kind of gives you like, and I said they're apolitical anyway. They're not interested in politics. They're not interested in taking a side. Their job is just to serve the US government and protect the citizens of the United States of America. They couldn't give a shit who's in the White House, who's running the things. They're just there to follow orders, you know, and just that's it. But they want to make it political, you know.
It's typical right-wing fascism. It is. I mean, I did watch Starmer's speech because I wanted to. I mean, I did vote for Starmer way back. I was a Labour member. I have left Labour and I'm now a member of the Green Party because I do like Zach Polanski. But I am left-wing. Whether I'm loony left or not, I don't know. You know, I really, that doesn't bother me. Call me loony left, but I'm definitely woke.
Radical left. You're a radical lefty.
Definitely woke. You know, with the whole BLM thing, when that happened, I went and knelt on my drive, you know, with my sign up that day that we were supposed to do it. Obviously, I have issues with getting out with people. That's just my own sort of mental health issues. But I'm definitely an activist as much as I can be, and I try to do that through my videos and through. I try not to get too political though, because there's so much in politics that. When I finished my first module, it was a social sciences module, and my tutor was amazing, and she kept saying to me, "Why don't you do politics?" I'm like, because it makes me so angry. You know, it's just something that I get so angry over, and especially with Farage and the whole Richard Tice, and I just, the hypocrisy and this is where the lack of education comes in for the poorer people who support that, because they are, you know, they have been trodden on by previous government, and they are the scapegoat. They are the, you know, oh, look at that person over there. They're the ones that are doing you harm, you know, to the migrants. Meanwhile, it's those at the top that are doing the harm.
The cookie meme.
It's that cognitive, that critical thinking that a lot of people don't possess, and it's not taught in school, and it needs to be. There was I think it was Channel 4 recently. One of the reporters did a sort of, he set up a fake account on TikTok, and as a 14-year-old boy, just to see what the algorithm would send him. And within sort of 24 hours, he was seeing Andrew Tate content. And that, luckily Tate is sort of dying off a bit, but there are other content creators of the same vein that are coming out, and a lot of young boys are being swayed by that and sort of thinking, oh, I want the fancy cars, I want the fancy house, I want the good looking women, without realizing the harm that those two are actually doing,
and they think there's a quick butt to success, and it's just like, if you sign up to their program, you'll get to have the same riches and fortunes, and it's just like, that's just not true. It's just not true. It sounds too good to be true. Like it's one of those, like, we all make, it's like one of those, it's one of those Instagram pages where you say you sign up to us and we can make you a millionaire, and it's just like, it's just not true. You can't.
It's a pyramid scheme.
Yeah,
it's a pyramid scheme. Remember Amway back in the 90s? That was a pyramid scheme. So Avon do a similar thing. Actually, you start to sell the stuff, and then you recruit more people under you, and they recruit more people, and you make. But the work that those guys have to do, but it's not just the work; it's the money that they have to pay to be in the university, that Tate University, which is. I haven't seen it, but I do follow a content creator called Gadget, who is Australian. He's absolutely brilliant. He has been investigating the Tate I've been watching it for well over 2 years now, and I've done my own content on the Tate as well. And they're actually suing him and several other content creators for what they say are lies or mistruths, but they aren't, because everything that they have produced in that content is based on content that the Tates have put out, and that's in, online. It's available online. You can find it. And they are a couple of con men, basically, and friends with Farage. I mean, with the whole Southport issue, it was Tate that went and said, first of all, it was a Muslim asylum or an Islamist. I can't remember his exact words. And then, of course, Farage came out and said the same thing, and then it was just, chaos.
Yeah, and then he said, then Farage said in one of the interviews, like, oh, he heard it from Tate or something like that, like just kind of like just casually saying it. And the actual source actually of it all was actually from a LinkedIn account, because I remember the police talking about when they talked about it, they said it was from one person on a LinkedIn account. And literally it spreaded like wildfire. And then as soon as everybody started saying it, then one reform politician said it, and then all of a sudden, like, that's where everyone just assumed it. And that's why but now, like, the police have an impossible job when it comes to this now. And yes, I know there was a story out today about the BBC Panorama story on the police, but even so, for all that stuff, and and personally, I like I said this morning, I think they should all just be fired on the spot. Like, you just can't have those kind of people in the police force. You just can't. And unfortunately, it smears all police officers when you see that kind of stuff, because it's the same thing as you said. Not everyone is bad. Not everyone is the same thing. But you hear that all the time. Unfortunately, there are good police officers out there, but unfortunately, there's a lot of them who have just got the same mindset. Or there's a system within the police force, like in many other systems out there, where the top guy will protect the most loyal police officers and whatnot. And that's definitely what I'm seeing happening, and it's incredibly frustrating that people aren't bold and brave enough. But at the same time, if you try to be too bold and brave in certain one of these systems, you end up getting pushed to the side by other forces, if you know what I mean. Like if you want to try and come and make the difference, there's always something trying to get in the way. And that's something that I'm a little bit worried about with the Green Party and Zach Polanski. I'm worried that there will be forces going to try to influence the Green Party in some way, shape or form to steer them in a direction that's not in the interest of the British public. Right now, that they're not, there's nothing doing that. But I am worried in the future that may happen. The one question that I keep getting told about people privately about Zach Polanski, and I think it is a fair question, is about his time going in the Lib Dems. He was in the Liberal Democrats for a very short time, and then he went to the Green Party. That's one thing that I keep hearing that get being brought up about the criticism of Zach Polanski of why he did that. Why did he join the Lib Dems and then go to the Greens after in such a short period of time? But I don't. That is perhaps something that maybe he should address at some point. I don't know what he has said about it, as far as I'm aware. But at the moment, the Green Party are this. I don't look at it as, oh, they're perfect. They're the only. They're you know. It's like, no. Well, like they have problems. They've had problems. I've covered it on my channel. But they are more leveled with the British public on the issues that they understand than any of the other political parties. It's not to say there aren't good politicians in any of the other political parties. There are good Labour politicians. There are actually some good Conservatives. There's not many of them left. That's why some of them are still in the spots that there are, because they actually do good things for their constituents, believe it or not. I know that's a bitter pill for me to swallow, considering what they've done for the last 15 years. But there are a few of them. Let's say a few. But in all different aspects. So the problem is, it's kind of just like we tend to just paint everyone the same. It's a big problem. Simon says, 55 says, do you think hedge funds will bribe the Green Party? I think they will try to at some point. I think that's going to come. The question is how they're going to cope with that. Because here's the thing: they're not just going to approach what the hedge funders and those kind of people will try to do. They won't go straight for the Green Party. What they will try to do is go to the people who have the most influence in the Green Party, and they will try to target them, and they will offer them money, and that's where they will start seeping in. And the question is are we going to have people within the Green Party be able to stop that? Because that's where it's going to come. It's not going to be like, hey, Green Party, we're going to give you all this money. No, it's going to be, let's target these specific people, because that's what the right wing and that's what these think tanks and that will do. They will look to target specific people to try and influence political parties, just like they've done in the Conservatives, just like we're doing with Labour. This is what they're going to try and do with the Green Party if they start getting big traction on that.
Yeah. I think with Polanski changing from the Lib Dems to the Greens, I mean, I've swapped from Labour to the Greens. I think that we have that ability to change our mind, the sort of, if we realize, well, hang on, this is not what I was expecting. This, for me, the big thing for me was when they were talking about reducing benefit, and I'm a recipient of benefit. I, do my best. I worked and paid into the system. I have illnesses. So this is, I am trying to hopefully grow my channel so that I can earn a living from this. And, studying psychology, there's a couple of things that I want to do with it, to earn money and to then give back into the system. But for the meantime, I'm here and this is what I need to work with. So when Labour said they're cutting benefits, I'm like, it's just this catch-all phrase to get the, the sort of Tory supporters over to Labour, because, a lot of those Tory supporters believe that Labour are, don't support.
The Tories want to go further, but they basically, the Tories actually wanted to go further than what Labour wanted to do. But...
Oh yeah, they'd like to take it away completely. They'd like us all going back to the workhouses and up the chimneys. Well, I think Reform would actually do that as well. But I think that, when Labour did that, it was like a kick in the teeth for me. The one thing that I do admire about the Labour Party, though, is Jess Phillips. I absolutely love Jess Phillips. I love the fact that she stands up for women in Parliament. And my MP, Natalie Fleet, she's also stands up for women.
Yeah.
So that, you know, I will always support Jess Phillips and I will always support Natalie Fleet. And of course, you know, when we do have another election, I will vote tactically, you know. I will vote to make sure that reform, you know, to try and keep reform out. I don't think the Tories stand a chance anymore, but I think that the area that I live in, the age group of people here is very much sort of, we want to go back to the 1960s. We want to have fewer cars and fewer people, and it's never going to happen. You know, it's just, they live in this fantasy world of things were better back in the day when there was frost on the inside of our windows and, you know, in the middle of winter, and we didn't have central heating and we had to use the outside loo. No, things weren't better then. I remember being a kid and we didn't have central heating when I was growing up, and we had the old sash windows and the ice on the window in winter and writing my name in the ice on the window. And I don't want to go back to that. You know, I don't want to go back to that sort of, it's like an idealistic sort of dream that they have of going back to this time when things were that way. The world's moved on.
Yeah, I agree. The problem is that a lot of people feel like they can bring back the British Empire, for crying out loud. I mean, like that's the one that really, like, it's just like, are you serious? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, you have to, like, I have to laugh about it because it's like, it's just not possible. Like, everyone has moved on, but there's some people who kind of believe that. And I think someone touched up in the chat earlier about, you know, we need to teach children about critical thinking skills. You know, there's so many things that kids are not taught in schools that they really should be taught. Like, I think one of the other things they need to be taught is about finances. I really do think they need to learn about finances, learn about how to manage money and that kind of stuff. Because I don't even remember, even when I was in school, that I was taught a lot about money. I had to learn it all from my parents. And it's just like, if we actually taught kids about finances, about money, and like how finances work to a certain extent, we could make a lot more money. We could make a lot more money, and a lot more kids would be more manageable with their money instead of like gambling it away on sports shops every time their football comes on or something. Because they don't like, as soon as they get paid. I know a lot of people, when I don't know how many you people you know, but there's a group of people that literally, when they get paid, they literally go out and spend it all, and then they have to literally survive for the next couple of weeks before they get paid again. And it's just like why do that? Why not like manage your money like more stable? I mean, obviously not everybody has that situation, because everybody's situation, financial situation, is different, as you've just pointed out about yours, for example. But that's finances is something. Go on. No. I was just going to repeat what I was saying about finances, but go on.
Well, when I was in school and went on to get my A-level equivalent over there, the subjects that I went into were accountancy, business economics, that side of things. So I've done my own accounts for years. You know, it is just something that I've done forever. I actually had to get rid of about 10 years worth of paperwork. I'm like, I don't need this anymore. You know, receipts and stuff that I used to do my own stuff for the, you know, send it to HMRC every year. And so, but again, my dad was very much, you know, manage your money, be good with your money. But like you say, critical thinking skills need to be taught in school, most definitely. Finances. Opening a bank account, I didn't know this, excuse me, but recently my nephew, his mum had to take him to open a bank account. She had to go with him. And I just thought, what? That's insane. You know, I remember having a bank account when I was a kid. I think it was through the post office that I could put money into, you know, just a few pennies or whatever. But he had to, you know, I don't know if that's the same with all banks or if anybody else knows anything about that, but I found that really bizarre. But he's now studying politics, so I'm really pleased about that. So we can have some decent conversations.
Yeah, I think learning and understanding, like I do like a lot of one of the things I do like about some banks is they do have these like junior bank accounts and like junior ISIS and stuff, and that's something you want to try and kind of push your kids into getting them to understand like what a bank account is and that. But this is kind of stuff, but like I said, this is something that kids should be taught in schools. No, I really do think it should be something that's taught in schools. Like if they learn how to manage money, they can learn how to save money. They can learn how to spend it wisely when they need to. They can save money for the future, for when they're older. The younger you learn how to manage your money, the better. I learned, and I learned a very harsh lesson when I was 19, 18, 19, 20. I lost. I don't want to give the story away, but I lost a couple of grand in that I was building up in my job, even though I wasn't doing anything with my money. It was literally just sitting there. I ended up throwing it away, and it wasn't until like I lost the money that I realized the value of money then. And it was only because I lost that money that I finally realized the value of it. And it really made me change my attitude about money then. It made me like, and one of my dads pushed me towards learning how to put money away, like put it in stock and shares, or put it in an ISA, or put it in a pen, or like in a private pension, all these kind of things. And by no means am I rich. By no means am I in any way, shape, or form, chat. Like it's like I'm not like what I'm doing right now is not like in terms of like I'm earning money, but not enough for a living. If I could be honest, guys. At the moment, like I'm very keen not to touch money that I have like stored away, sort of thing, because I want to have it for rainy days, rainy days. But like, not everyone has that situation. Not everybody does that because like everybody's situation is different. So it's easy for me to say these things, but for some people they would turn around and say, well, it's all well and good you saying that, Regan. The only problem is that, well, I have to wait. I only get so much money from my job, and then it all goes towards the bills, or I don't have enough to feed my kids. I can't save anything. Like I literally can't even, like for some people they can't even get scraps, and I hate that. I hate that. Like I know it happened. I know we have a lot of countries with a lot of issues, respectfully, but here in the UK, supposedly one of the richest, four nations that have wealth of money, and yet we somehow have a massive child poverty issue. We have more food banks than McDonald's, and yet our politicians, regardless of whatever political party you're from, we haven't solved this issue. We've allowed it to happen after 15 years of Conservatives. And you would have thought like the Labour would start making traction to this. Now, the rumour is obviously they're going to get rid of the child benefit cap at the
I heard that
next
today,
budget. The rumour. And I'm going to say rumour because I don't trust them, because we hoped that they would do it at the last budget and they didn't. Cross fingers that they do. But I just feel like, why is it taken so long for you to make this conscious decision when the data is there? The evidence is there. The statistics say that if you remove child benefit cap, you will lift people out of poverty. What's taken you so long to come to this decision? And this is the same. This is the same grievance that I have with the Labour Party, as you rightly pointed out about the benefit cuts that they were talking about, especially to disabilities. And the thing that really infuriated me the most wasn't just the fact that they were proposing it. It was the fact that they didn't even consult the very people that they were going to affect. And that's the thing that angers me more than anything, that you are going to make a policy decision that's going to deeply affect a certain section of society, and you're not even going to consult the very people that are being affected with it. It's the same with the whole issue around, they've accepted the court ruling on the transgender issue, which I really don't want to. I don't personally want to dive into it here, but they've accepted it without completely missing out a point that you're completely discriminating an entire body, and that even the courts didn't even consult the very people that were being affected by the decision as well. So, and that in itself is just like, what are we doing here? We're making changes to certain sections of society within the UK, and we're not even consulting the very people who are going to be affected here. That's not governments at all. That's not governing at all. Like, that's just, I don't know the word to describe it. If someone was, I don't know what the word to describe it is, but that's not democracy in any way, shape, or form, because you're not even consulting the very people you're affecting.
Yeah, I think I saw a video earlier today with Swarbrick from LBC, and he was talking about something that people on benefits can get up to £60,000. I'm like, what? Sign me up for this, you know? But it that works on I can't remember who did the video now.
Max did a video. I think Max who did Max Robespierre did a video, and I think he did
it could have been Max, and
because I'm pretty sure he did
yes.
Yeah, because he did a video response calling him out on it, basically saying you haven't even done your homework, and it only took me 5 minutes to Google it, and I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, I love Max. I really do. That sigh that he does, that, and you know, here we go.
I'm still mastering. I'm mastering the myself.
Yeah. But yeah, I love Max when he does call those things out and he points it out, because he looks at a lot of stuff that we don't all see. It's like Daily Blase as well. I love watching his stuff because he takes a lot of stuff that is not out there on the sort of, you know, I don't want to say mainstream because we're not mainstream, but he did a really good one the other day of it was a reform.
Shall we say maybe not every? Shall we say for Daily Blase, maybe not everyone is aware of. That's kind of a niche. Could be sometimes kind of a niche videos that you don't always see. Maybe that perhaps that he points out.
That's it. Yeah, and he did one. It was on a reform counsellor, and it was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I loved it. Yeah, absolutely loved it. And I like Darren because he's from Leeds and I'm from Doncaster, so you know. We're both Yorkshire, so yeah.
Yeah, and he does a live stream every Friday at 5 p.m, guys. So make sure you do attend the Friday Frolics. Absolutely, I do enjoy the Friday Frolics because you know, taking aside the politics, he can really just give us all a good laugh and make us all in a feel good mood, you know. And I really do love him for that.
Yeah. There are so many brilliant content creators out there. You know, I mean, I love Supertansky. I know not everybody does. Yep. Aid Thompson, love him. I think he's brilliant. And there's a couple of new ones that I've started watching as well just recently. A guy called Anthony Jones, and
I've heard of him.
Custard. And
Custard, yeah, that's one that's been around for I don't know how long that one's been around for, but Anthony's grown like rapidly. Like he was, I think it was like several months ago, he only had like a couple of thousands, like about 1,000 subscribers or something. And his videos have just taken off. You know, he's really, he's just hit it out of the park. He has. I don't personally watch his content, but yeah, he's done really well for himself.
I watched some. You know, you've got to be. If I watched all of them,
you can't watch everything. You can, I know exactly what you say. You can't watch every content creator. You can only be selective because you've only got so much time in your life and all that kind of stuff. And like people, you know, there's people here in the chat who only watch selective few, and you know what? That's fine, guys. But I always say, like, do check out, like, even if you haven't seen a Witchy Goth video, like, just check it out and just, you know, if you like what you see from her live streams or from one of her videos and you want to see more, then you know where to find her. But it's the same with me. It's like, it's just sometimes, it's like hit and miss. We're not always everyone's cup of tea, but if you don't try something, you don't know, do you? So I think that's the best way to describe it.
I've been missing your morning stuff, your breakfast stuff this past week because I've been training for my race this weekend. So I've been out running at that time, so I'm missing that because I don't run with headphones. I like to listen to the bird.
That's the best way.
It is. I see runners with their headphones on, and I think you are missing out on so much. You know, because I don't run on the roads. I do trail running, so I'm in the woods and the forest, and I can't.
I love that.
The traffic and the fumes. It really gets to me.
That's. Whenever I go for my walks, I I try to, as soon as I get to the big park, which is about 5-10 minute walks from here, like literally it's just like I want to get there, and I just like apart from the occasional dog walkers, it's like I've got like I can do my 10,000 steps peacefully. Sometimes I'll listen to music, sometimes I'll just listen to whatever's around me, and sometimes I will just sometimes I'll just walk along and just do the steps, or sometimes I might walk fast, just to it varies. It is. I mean, I don't like music is sometimes definitely something that just kind of just gets me out of a zone sort of thing when doing it. But it's like everyone is for me, it's a case of depending on how I feel on the day. Like if I feel like I want to blast music in my ears, I'm going to blast music in my ears. Or if I'm just going to go and do my usual, go do a walk, I'm just going to go and do a walk. Or it's just, or sometimes I'll just do some of my Speaking My Mind episodes where I'm literally talking to the phone about some random topic which nobody's interested in, and I only get one view. But I don't care. It's like sometimes I just like come up with something to talk about, But yeah, I love that.
I do the when I'm running, sometimes I stop by this one sort of beech tree that blew down a few years ago, and I just do a quick sort of video. It gives me a bit of a break. Today, I had such bad hamstring pain in my left hamstring that I needed to stretch it out again. And after that, my time just went. It was one of my fastest 2 miles that I've ever done. In fact, it was the fastest 2 mile that I've ever done. I was like, wow, if I can run like I ran today on Sunday, I'll be happy. But each day is different. Each day is different. The body, it depends what I've eaten. It depends how I've slept. So it's a journey. I used to run when I was in my 40s, and I was really, fast, and it was, I was doing 10Ks a day then. But now I'm in my 50s, and it's a big difference having to start all over again. And of course I had a huge amount of weight that I had to lose as well. So yeah.
Wow. Oh, sorry. Steve McMahon. Oh my God. That's wow. Thank you. Wow, that's that is extremely generous of you, Steve. Thank you so much. Hi everyone, been watching, great chat. Thank you so much. That is extremely generous of you. 50 New Zealand dollars there. It's a lovely. Hopefully, it's a lovely Friday morning where you are, my friend. Thank you so much for that. It's extremely generous of you. Honestly, that is very, very kind of you. I hope you are doing well. Thank you so much. That is extremely generous of you, my friend. Just as a quick side note, I did say one day in the future, that we do one of the things that I want to do at least in my life is visit New Zealand, and you are definitely on the list of people that I want to meet when I go there. That is for sure, because you've been extremely generous. Honestly, that is. Thank you so much, Steve. I really appreciate that. And by the way, guys, you can support Witchy Goth too. In the link in the description is her GoFundMe as well. So if you guys want to support Witchy Goth and the work that she does, please feel free to do so. I really can't emphasize that enough, obviously, because you guys help support me, and you guys support her for the work that we do, and we want to provide the best that we can for you guys. And obviously, you guys help keep us going. And even if, and I say this so many times to people, even if you can't find support, don't feel guilty about it. I always say, make sure you take care of yourself before you take care of others. And if you want to support in a non-financial manner for my channel, Witchy Goths, Daily Blase, or One Angry Pagan in their channels, hitting the like button, sharing this, subscribing, leaving comments, all that stuff just helps boost the algorithm, guys. All that good stuff. It can make a big difference, because sometimes just doing those kind of little things could trigger the algorithm to open it up to new viewers, and then all of a sudden a video could explode when we don't expect it to. So absolutely, that can make a big difference there. I look for. Steve, I look forward to it, my friend. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you to Steve as well. I mean, that's amazing. That's really amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the thing. Even if you, especially with comments, because every time somebody comments, it does move up in the algorithm. Even if you don't want to type an actual sentence, just put a little emoji, just a thumbs up, or a couple of people put some sort of, I can't even do that, the love heart things and that.
The love heart with I think it's like this. I think it's something like that. I think if I can do it right, something like something along like that. Yeah. The emoji there. I think I've seen this question a few times, so I better let you answer this one. One Angry Pagan's asked, I think it's the second time he's asked this. Do you know about the Police Pagan Association attempt at pagan outreach by the police service? He's asked.
Yes, I do.
Are you aware of that?
It's been in place for a long time. Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, they work for the Pagan Federation. So if anybody wants to know more about paganism, Pagan Federation is a great place to start. And they do have a website. Also, if you are pagan and you are feeling persecuted, or you have some sort of complaint, perhaps you are being persecuted at work, something along those lines, you can contact Pagan Federation and they will help you, with the sort of legal aspect of how paganism should be accepted and so on. And also, One Angry Pagan did actually alert me to a video. I've forgotten his name now. He was speaking in Parliament to pretty much an empty room. He's Reform, and he was on about the pagans need to be wiped out. Basically, he said that we are woke and we are fake.
Andrea Jenkins.
Daniel.
Is that no, not. Oh,
Danny Kruger. That's
Daniel
Kruger.
Danny Kruger. There you go.
Yeah. And I am going to do a video on that as well, because it just sort of like really, certain things really get to me, and that was one of them, because we've already had the burning times back in the 1600s when 90,000 women, children, and some men were either burned or hanged for being witches, and we don't want to go back there. We really don't. No. And I believe that we should all have our beliefs. Paganism isn't a religion, for a start. It is a belief. And under the banner of paganism, there are many other types of pagan beliefs. Hi, George, Avery. I've been there a few times. Sorry, I just saw that pop up, so I had to.
Thank you, George, for £2 super chat. I live in Avery. See you there. Oh, lovely. Thank you so much for your support, George. Very much appreciate it. But yes, guys, if you can give anything here to support Witchy Goth, please do as well. It'd be greatly appreciated, guys and girls, shall we say, as well. They're greatly appreciated. Was there any other topics we wanted to cover? We've gone about 9:15 here. Was there anything else we wanted to add that you can think of? Go on.
I think there's so much that I could talk about, Regan. Really, I could talk all night. But I can
go. Go on.
I think I need to, head off. I've got another busy day tomorrow, so. But I've really enjoyed this, and I would love to do this again. I think this has been brilliant.
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
That's. Much,
Yeah. So no, I totally understand. Look, I understand you got a very, very busy weekend ahead, and that's totally understandable, of course. And don't click out yet. Yeah, when I end the live stream, just want before you go. Yeah. But I just want to say, guys, massive thank you to everyone who has come along. Thank you guys for all your comments. I really appreciate it. Averaging around 30 views. This is incredible. So I really appreciate you got all of you guys coming out. Thank you again to the shout out to the Bing podcast for the raid as well, and bringing over their people. Much appreciated. I'm looking forward to have them back on in the future as well. And maybe, guys, we'll get Witchy Goth on a roundtable in the future. I think that would be really nice as well. You know, another a roundtable discussion. Maybe we could maybe have something like that, guys. I think that would be really, really interesting for sure.
I'm up for that, definitely. I've really enjoyed this. I have. It's been really interesting, and just sharing everything and being able to speak to somebody rather than speaking to myself, because that's what you feel like sometimes, you know, when you're recording videos, you feel like you're just speaking to yourself. But so this has been great, and yeah, I just really have enjoyed our discussion.
Can I just ask before we wrap up, can I just ask you, is this your first time actually doing this, like talking to someone on a live stream?
On YouTube, yes. I have done a couple on Facebook before. My friend Tammy in South Africa, we do quite a lot of sort of more spiritual yoga based. She's a yoga instructor as well, so we do that on a sort of. We haven't done one for a while, actually. It's been a while. So she did mention to me the other day.
Might be making a phone call later then. Guys, thank you all so much for coming along. Guys, make sure you check out Witchy Goth YouTube channel. Link is in the description if you haven't seen. And if you can provide any support funds for her, please feel free. Please do if you can. It's greatly appreciated. Witchy Goth, thank you so much for coming on. Just a quick reminder before I head out, guys. I'll be back live tomorrow at 11 a.m. in the morning for another good morning show. So if you guys can join me for that, feel free to do so. But if not,
I'm afraid I'm at the hairdresser.
That's totally fine. As far as when my next live stream will go after tomorrow, it will probably not be until not next week, the week after, guys, because of my plans, unfortunately. But I will open up a little bit more about what I'm planning to do, because thank you again, George, for the £2 super chat. Kruger is my MP, but united we stand. Yep. Make his life a living hell as best as you can as one of his constituents is my best advice to you. I will let you guys know what the plan is for while I'm away on holiday. I am not going to leave the channel empty. I always provide content for you guys somehow in some way, so I will give you guys something while I'm away. There won't be any live streams, unfortunately. But that means you can check out Witchy Goth a bit more. That means you can check out Max Robespierre when he goes live. You can check out David Blase more. You can check out Supertansky more. You can check out the Bing podcast more. There's lots of other great live streams as well. So, but I will be back. I will be back tomorrow. But after that, it'll be a while before I go live again. But yes. So let me, before I click end a live stream, thank you guys all for coming along. Take care. Have a good evening. And we hope to catch you all very, very soon. Take care. Bye. Bye.